This segment of Delmarva Life is sponsored by DryTek Crawlspace Solutions.
Well, here on Delmarva, you can feel the humidity the second you walk outside. That heavy summer air has a way of sticking to everything. And while most of us expect it outdoors, that same moisture can build up under our homes, causing problems many people don't notice until damage starts to show. And as I learned, having a crawl space inspected by local professionals can help catch small problems before they turn into costly repairs. On Delmarva, humidity isn't just a seasonal inconvenience. It's a constant pressure on homes from the ground up. DryTek owners Dave Wilson and Casey Conaway say crawl spaces are often where that stress shows up first.
We always get questions like, well, what's the minimum I need to do? And so the best thing for your crawl space is honestly is dehumidification.
But Casey says many homeowners are still relying on outdated ventilation habits that don't work in a humid coastal environment.
A lot of people, they think they need to just open the vents in the summer, close the vents in the winter. And that's really not the solution for this area because it's humid. We deal with a lot of humidity here on Delmarva. So we have to control humidity. And that's, we recommend sealing up the vents and then putting a dehumidifier in there at minimum.
When humid outside air enters the crawl space, it meets cooler structural surfaces underneath the home. And that's where the problems begin.
You have this rich, moist air going into your crawl space through your vents. It hits that cool, your floor joists and also your ductwork, and everything will condensate. And what happens is that the insulation will absorb the water and it starts to string down. If you open the door, I know you don't want to go underneath there, but if you peek in there and you see the insulation starting to kind of spider web down, that is a pure sign, an easy sign to know that your crawl space is under stress and it deals with moisture.
Casey says those early warning signs are often just the surface of a much larger issue.
If you see any dark staining, a lot of times that's mold growing on your floor joist. About 50% of the air that you breathe comes through your crawl space.
Once moisture takes hold, the effects can spread beyond air quality, reaching some of the home's most expensive systems.
You've got HVAC systems, they're very expensive, they're rusting away because of all this condensation.
Dave says if not treated properly, that constant exposure to moisture can begin to weaken the structure itself.
The wood is absorbing that moisture, and the wood is supposed to be at let's say a 12% moisture reading in that wood, and we see encapsulated crawl spaces that is super high, 30% moisture reading in the wood. That's not healthy for the wood. That means that that wood is probably growing mold on the wood. It's absorbing that moisture, so it's becoming weaker over time.
In some cases, those issues eventually become visible inside the home.
If you have like deflection in your floors, or you're realizing that your floors maybe are dropping, in the center of the house, or if your hardwood floor inside the house is cupping, those are really good signs that, hey, something's going on with the structure of my home, and I need to get this under control.
That's why many homeowners turn to crawl space encapsulation, but Dave says it's often misunderstood as a quick fix.
So encapsulation is the membrane that just separates the soil that's in your crawl space and moisture that's in that ground and in that block foundation. It separates that from the environment of the crawl space to help keep it dry. There's other things that go along with the encapsulation that has to be done. So we can't just encapsulate your crawl space, it's going to fix everything.
Instead, Dave says real protection comes from treating the crawl space as a complete system.
We look at three different things, and in this order. We look at moisture management first, because if we encapsulate your crawl space but you're getting a ton of water in, it's not going to work. We look at dehumidification second, and then lastly is encapsulation.
When that system is in place, the crawl space becomes more controlled and the benefits extend into the living space above.
When we introduce that conditioned air into the space, it's going to heat the crawl space in the winter. Your floors are going to be warmer, your house is going to be more comfortable. And then in the summertime, because you're conditioning the crawl space, it helps take a strain off of that dehumidifier so it doesn't have to run as much.
DryTek says those systems are designed to last, but like any part of the home, they still require maintenance and attention over time.
It is a long-term fix that's going to fix your crawl space. It still doesn't mean that it's not going to require maintenance. We've got a dehumidifier down there that's going to need to be serviced and checked regularly. But when we put together a system of encapsulation, we're also giving you a system that's going to monitor the humidity, monitor the water. If the sump pump fails, you're going to know about it because you're going to get a text message or an email.
Thanks to the team at DryTek, homes on Delmarva are dry, healthy, and protected. Now, Dave and KC tell us they also work with local communities and HOAs to provide educational sessions on crawlspace conditions and how they can impact the overall health of a home. To view a full list of services and schedule your free estimate, visit our website and click on what's happening today.